Another attack in Jerusalem has heightened fears of escalating violence between Israelis and Palestinians. Officials say a 13-year-old Palestinian boy wounded two Israelis, a father and son, today. This latest incident coming one day after another person killed 7 near a synagogue. This was the scene after the shooting on the outskirts of the city. The day before, on Thursday, Israeli forces killed 10 Palestinians in a raid on the West Bank city of Jenin, fueling this latest escalation. And joining us now with the latest from Jerusalem is Reuters correspondent Emily Rose. Emily, you're close to where the attacks have been happening. Take us there. What is the feeling on the ground?
So the feeling today, Sarah, it's like a tinderbox that could go up in flames at every moment. But we have to remember that actually the violence, and though it has been a violent 48 hours, it's really the culmination of violence that began earlier part of last year when Israel stepped up the number of raids it was conducting in the West Bank in response to a spate of Palestinian street attacks. And I have to say, at Reuters Jerusalem, we've been reporting since then almost weekly on clashes between the Israeli military and Palestinians on the ground. The Israeli military saying that those Palestinians are militants, that they aim at killing or hurting Israeli civilians or soldiers, and the Palestinians, the ones who take up arms, say that they're engaging in armed struggle against Israel's occupation of Palestinian cities and towns. So all of the past 48 hours have really just been a fever pitch of that violence that has been culminating for over a year now.
And speaking of the military, you've been speaking to your sources in the Israeli military. What can we expect in the coming hours and days given the escalation in violence?
Yes, I just spoke to a senior member of the Israeli military who informed me that they've dispatched an additional 3 battalions to the West Bank. He wouldn't give me the percentage of what that means in terms of boots on the ground, but he did say that comprises a sizable increase in the number of soldiers that are being sent out there. Now, that could have a double effect, right? It could create more friction with Palestinians on the ground, but he said that the Israeli military was doing so and they would continue to send more soldiers if they saw fit. And if you look at the streets on the ground here in Jerusalem, you can see heightened police presence, security personnel everywhere. They're really looking like they're anticipating more violence, more clashes, specifically around East Jerusalem and the Old City. So it's not a stretch to say that Israeli security personnel and Israeli forces are on high alert.
Okay, and adding to all of this, Israel now has a new far-right government. How should this violence be looked at within the context of this new leadership?
So it's important to remember that that new government was already under the international lens. A few weeks back, it said that it was going to introduce new judicial reforms that would strip the Israeli Supreme Court of a lot of its power and pass it over to members of the governing coalition. Now, that sparked ire among members of the international community who said that would make Israel less democratic. But it also made Israelis quite angry. And for the 4th week in a row, tens of thousands of Israelis have taken to the street to protest those judicial reforms. So that was already going to be an element of the discussion when members of the international community do touch down this week, specifically members of the American government. But this new security situation adds another element to those discussions.
Okay, Emily Rose in Jerusalem. Thank you, Emily, for your insights on such a delicate and dynamic situation this evening.
Thank you.